We'll start off with PHP regular expressions. We've already seen regular expressions in JavaScript. So regular expression is the same concept in any language. Only the thing is the methods will be a little different for every programming language. So we'll see how to use regular expressions with PHP. We are going to look at certain methods like this preg underscore match, preg underscore match all. So this is another method, and preg underscore replace. So we look at these three methods with respect to regular expressions in PHP. First, we'll see the use of this method, preg underscore match. So when you're talking about regular expressions, the very important thing is you have to define a pattern. Say you have to search for a pattern. Like what you did in JavaScript, you define the pattern within this notation. And say if I'm going to search for this string Satish, make it case insensitive, then that is the pattern. And how to search, we can go with this method, preg underscore match, and then you pass the pattern. And whatever the string wherein you want to search, say it is case insensitive search, Satish is teaching PHP. So what is going to be returned here is, if there is a match of this pattern, it's going to return a 1. If there is no match, it will return a 0. If there is a match, what will be the value returned? 1. If there is no match, then what will be returned? 0. So you can very well check this. Let's save this and look at the output. Maybe I'll go to another screen. Try to p slash test.php. So you're getting a 1 here. Why is that a 1 is getting returned? That's because you have a match. It's a case insensitive search. So you find Satish, so it's going to return 1. If there is no Satish here, Tom is teaching PHP, what will be the output that you're going to get? You're going to get a 0 return. So you can very well use this function within your if statements. If the match returns some value, you can print some data to the user. So this is the use of this specific function in PHP. You pass the pattern, the string, it searches for the pattern and returns a 1 if there is a match. There's one more method called preg underscore match all. What this one does is, say if I have Satish is teaching PHP and Satish teaches JavaScript, something like that. So now when I'm going to run this match for Satish, Satish exists in two places here. So what it will return is, it will return the count of matches. The answer here will be 2. And there's one more field we give, that is dollar, you can say it's matches. So whatever value that is matching will be returned as an array using dollar matches. First we'll see the output. The output will be number of times this string occurs in this search string. So let's take a look at the output. The output is 2 times. If I want to print whatever value that is there in dollar matches, I have to go with this print underscore or function. Just for making it more readable, we have to print matches. So it's going to tell you the matching strings from this search string. Let's take a look at the output. So here it tells you the match that it has found from within the string. So what is the difference between this function match all and match? Match just matches the very first occurrence, returns a 1 or a 0. If it is match all, it returns the number of times that pattern occurs in a string. The next thing we are going to see is, we'll take a look at this function, that is preg underscore replace. What is the use of replace is, it will search for a pattern. So let's change this function, that is preg underscore replace. The name of the function itself tells what it does. It searches for a pattern and then it replaces that pattern with another string. Let me tell you what is this. So it replaces, say if I want to replace Satish with Matthew, And what is the string? I'm going to say Satish is bad in teaching, like that. Now what replace will perform is it will search for the pattern Satish in the string. Wherever Satish occurs, it will replace that with Matthew. Let's echo this. Let's see what is the output. So Matthew is bad in teaching. So we were able to use replace method in PHP, preg underscore replace, for replacing a specific pattern with the value we are giving. So that is, these are the three methods. Whereas when you talk about the other things with respect to regular expressions, what all things we have learned, you can very well remember these things, right? Within square brackets, you can give ABC. We can give this caret symbol and say ABC. We can say 0 to 9. We have learned these things in JavaScript, A to Z. So you can give range of characters like this. So what it means, you match any character from within this parenthesis. It will match either A, B or C. What does that mean? You find for something that is not A, B or C. If your pattern is going to have A, B and C, then it's not a match. So it is like exclude. 0 to 9 is search for anything between 0 and 9. A to Z is capital letters A to Z, from A starting from A to Z, lowercase A to Z. So this we have already used in our previous languages, programming languages, that is JavaScript. And there are also other meta characters. What are meta characters we have seen? Meta characters, you remember, this is an or character. That is, you can search for either Satish or Ratish or Matish, something like that. So, either one of these strings, if it is present, there will be a pattern found. That is one of the meta characters. Dot is a meta character. What it means? Match any character in the string. Any other meta characters we have learned? This is for start of a string. Yeah, we'll come to that. Start of a string. What is this start of a string meaning? If I want to check whether an username starts with a character, how will you perform that? You'll give the character symbol and then you'll say A to Z and A to Z. So it means check whether the string starts with a character. How will you check for end of the string? You give a dollar. So if I say uh, 0 to 9, and then if I give a dollar preceding that, I mean, if I give a dollar like this, what it means? It ends with an integer. This is the end of the string. It ends with an integer. So that is the use of dollar. And we have also seen other things. Do you remember backslash D? What it represents? It represents a digit. Anything that is between 0 and 9. What is backslash small s? It represents a white space. And what is backslash B? B is for boundary. Say for instance, I want to check whether day exists in the boundary of the word. I just give like this. What it means is it will find every day to be a match because day is in the boundary of the word. If I talk about daytime, now the word or the pattern day exists in the beginning of the word. So how you can check for the beginning? You can give boundary like this. So now it checks whichever word is starting off with day, it will tell you that the pattern is found. So these are some of the meta characters, and we also had quantifiers. That is, let me, yes, yes, there is one more thing, slash W we have, and this is a word character. What is a word character? That is anything capital A to Z, small a to C, and 0 to 9. Likewise, there's a capital W. What is this? Anything other than a word character. So we have seen all these things earlier too. Just to refresh, We also have quantifiers. What are quantifiers? Say, for instance, if I give plus n plus, let's say n plus, what it means? One or more n's. If I give n star, what it means? Zero or more of n's. So it just represents one or more of the previous notation. What is n question mark? It is 0 or 1. It can be 0 occurrences of n or at least 1 occurrence of n, something like that. And you also have in brackets n. What it means? Exactly n times. When I say 8, it means the previous character. Say, I can give here x and then n. So, what it means here is n occurs x times. I can also give n x comma y. What it means? The range of n is between x to y. So, you can very well say n 8 to 16 characters. Say, we can say username is between 8 and 16 characters, right? And there's one more thing. We can also give n x comma, that's it. What it means? Minimum x characters of n should be there. And the range can be anything. Starting with x, the range can be anything. So these are the things, and I hope you are able to follow the basics of regular expressions, which is common for any programming language you are going to learn. These are common things, whereas only the methods are going to be specific for a programming language. Now let's take up a simple example. Let's take up some small programs before we wind up regular expressions. That is the very first program we are going to take up now is, you can also try this parallelly. Check if you are capable of finishing such things. Say, check if a string matches any of the names, like we can think of or Matish or Ratish. Write PHP code such that, let me put that comment within PHP. Check if a string, you have to search for these patterns. The pattern can be Satish, Matish or Ratish. So what we are going to do here is, we'll have pattern. And what is the pattern we are going to check? A very simple pattern, right? You can have, this is common for all the strings. And within parenthesis, you can give SMR. So any one of these characters along with this string is acceptable. So you can go with an if statement, we can perform a match and we can pass the pattern. And what is the string we are going to give? Let me give Satish to check. We'll search that string, we'll echo. If there is a match in return a 1, so the first part of your if statement will execute. So we can say the pattern is found. Else we can say the pattern is not found, something like this. No need. An if statement, if it returns anything non-zero, it means it's true. So here we are going to get a non-zero value, so this is going to execute. If it is 0, it means it's false, so it will go to the else part. Now let's check this output. This works. The pattern is found. What if Matish is there? Still it should say the pattern is found. Instead of Matish, someone else, Tom, comes in. Is it going to say pattern is found? Pattern is not found. Even that is fine. Say, I told you you can use or, like this is another way. Satish or Matish or some Ratish. So now if you have Matish here and you're going to get the pattern is found. We'll take an example of word boundary checks, which I've told you just now. So I want to check something like this. A word that ends with the boundary day. So every day ends with day, right? So if you want to search for a word boundary like this, we learn things every day. Now, what is that we are checking? Is there a word that ends with this boundary day? So that is the meaning. When I give slash b at the end, it checks for the word boundary at the end of the word. So what it's going to say here, pattern is found because there is a pattern like that. In case if I have something like this, daytime, now will the pattern be found? The pattern is not found because this exists in the beginning of the word. So what you should do is if you're searching at the beginning of the word, you have to give slash b here, and now you'll see the pattern is found. So word boundary defines where exactly a pattern occurs, whether at the end of the word or at the beginning of the word. Is that clear? Now I'm going to give you an exercise. That is, what is the exercise? Check if an username is starting with a digit. If it starts with a digit, alert the user. If it starts with a digit, what is the digit? 0 to 9. If it starts with a digit, alert the user. Alert the user that username should not start with a digit. What is that? What is the question here? Get the username. Check if the username is starting with a digit. If he writes one Satish, then it's starting with a digit. Tell that your username is invalid. A username can be any number of characters, but it should never start with a digit. So how will you define the pattern for this? Say it should not start with a digit. So I'll go with this caret symbol. Say exclude 0 to 9. Where we should exclude this? In the starting. So we have to exclude this in the starting. So we give this caret symbol in the beginning. This denotes in the starting exclude these characters. And what can follow? Anything like uppercase A to Z or lowercase A to Z. Any characters can follow, and we can have one or more characters of these things. So we'll check this. If the username starts like this, one Satish, we'll say username is invalid. Username should not start with a digit. Or else we can say your username looks good. Is that fine? Let's check this whether this one is going to work. So we are starting that with a digit. Okay, it should be the other way around. I'm sorry. So your username looks good should come here, and it should start. Okay, there's one small thing. So now let's check. We are having this username. It's starting with a digit. So if it is starting with a digit, then the pattern is not found. So it's going to say username should not start with a digit. If it's not starting with a digit, then this pattern will be satisfied. So this is going to be executing. So that is one more thing that we have to take care of. So username should not start with a digit. If the username is not starting with a digit, say Satish is the username, and if I enter, username looks good. So this is, yeah. The second character S1. Let's check that because I didn't do 1 year, so it will not be matching. I guess let's check that too. Where is that? S1. Username should not start with a digit, but it says it's not a correct pattern. Okay. So were you all able to follow this example? The next exercise we are going to take is check if an username contains spaces. If it contains spaces, tell the user username cannot contain spaces. You all agree, right? You cannot have a username or a password with spaces in it. So how will you check for spaces? very simple thing. You have to just give this, and you can check. If I give Satish space CJ, so it's going to identify a space. So there will be a pattern match here. We'll say username should not contain spaces. If it's not containing a space, then we'll say username looks fine. So we are checking for a space within the username. That's the pattern we are searching. Let's check whether our output is fine. So username should not contain spaces. You have to identify spaces. This can be applicable for passwords too. So there are a lot of exercises that you can take. So how you learn regular expressions is through trial and error. Sometimes you get some question in mind and you're sitting with that regular expression for even hours, like it may not work. So I will give you an exercise which you can try. I'm not going to try this now. That is, get the registration number of the student and you should check whether the registration number contains this format. That is 2 digits in the start, BCE, and then 4 digits at the end. So only this input should be accepted. So what should be the input? 12 BCE 2001 or any digits 13 BCE 4001 like that. Other than that, anything should not be accepted. For instance, if the user writes 12 BCE 001 200, it's a wrong input. You should not accept that. If the user writes something like this 12 BCE 001 or else 21 12 BCE 001, you should not accept that input. You should identify the pattern. So you have to give all these inputs. Whenever you give this input, it should say invalid. What is valid? Only this kind of an input is valid. This is one of the exercises. Please take this one, try it out. Meanwhile, I'll wind up this discussion on PHP regular expressions. That is with password validation, which we have done with JavaScript earlier. Password validation, what kind of validations we'll check? At least one special character and at least one uppercase and lowercase letter, at least one digit. So these are the things, at least one uppercase, at least one lowercase, at least one digit, and at least one special case, and minimum 8 digits, starting from 8 digits to any digits in length. It should not be less than 8 digits. So this is the validation we need to do, and we have already used this pattern in our previous classes of JavaScript. So what we are going to give here is this question mark equal to dot star and slash d. So this says at least one digit, right? Like that, we are going to repeat this for what we are going to repeat this for one, at least one uppercase letter and at least one lowercase letter. So this and at least one special character and minimum 8 characters in length. That's the thing. What we'll do is we'll give some, say I have lowercase, uppercase, capital letters, special characters, and some numbers we'll give, and it's minimum 8 digits. Now, if there is a match, what should be the output? Username is valid, or else we have to say it's not username. We can say it's password because this validation will perform for passwords, or else we can say password is not matching the criteria. Okay. So let's run this. So password is matching the criteria should be password is valid because you're given. Say if we are not going to have digits or special character, you're going to run this. Password is not matching the criteria. So one famous validation which you have learned in JavaScript too, password validation. So I hope now you are familiar with how to use the methods for regular expressions in PHP. There are various other methods also, but these three important methods, what are those methods? PREG underscore match, PREG underscore match underscore all, and preg underscore replace. So will you be able to take up questions in your examination? Okay. So PHP regular expressions introduction is done.